Tell us a little bit about yourself and some of your interests.
Okay, first of all, and I want to thank you for allowing me to come on to your broadcast and just and talk to you because I like some of the things you're doing, especially with you being so young and you're so interested in building your business. So I I'm an Army brat. My dad was in the military for 30 years. I joined the military, and so we have a military family. We have um, sons in the military that served in the military. Um, Most of my business experience is in the corporate world. I was with Sprint many years. I retired from there. And then, in addition to that, I also pastored a church in this area for many years. Right now, I'm sort of semi-retired. Most of my uh, things that I do are I like to invest my money more than my time now, since I'm older. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm looking for good investments in these times that we're living in, and I've actually found some things that are at this moment returning me good investments.
Okay, so that's great. So in this podcast episode, we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter and Black people in entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
So there are 41 million African American people in the USA.
Mm-hmm.
So and only 2 million are Black owned businesses. So that's about 4.87%.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think the percentage is such little?
Well, first of all, that percentage needs to come up.
Yeah.
Uh, we as Black people, in order for us to be successful, and especially in the world that with this virus and everything, and after the virus, we're going to have to be in a position to uh, not just work for other people, but own our own business.
Okay.
And so it's very important uh, for us to make the necessary um, mental and spiritual changes so that we can take charge of our own destiny. Because if we don't take charge of our own destiny, we can't sit around and wait for other people to do it.
Yeah. So you think it's mindset? You think it's our mindset?
It's definitely a mindset, and not just that. There's some systemic things in the country, in our economy, that have for many years, as you know, held our people back. And so, but we can't wait for others to make changes. We've got to make those changes, and it starts in our mind and in our spirit, and then, and quite frankly, one of the best things that I think is happening to our people are the young people like you and people your age and a little older than you. Uh, you're taking sort of the bull by the horns, and you're moving ahead. So I'm very enthusiastic about what in store for us when the young people continue to move in the direction they're moving in.
Okay. So the stereotypical Black person, as the community portrayed, stereotypical Black person,
Mm-hmm.
probably raised in a home with just one parent, a Black person like that. So, do you think that has a negative effect on their career or life in general?
Well, it can, and in many cases it does. However, it's not the last word. Because, for example, my dad was in the Army, and he was in the Army 30 years. So some places he went, we could go with him. Other places he went, we couldn't go with him. So I spent, some time alone without my dad and just my mom. And I'll tell you, my mom gave me pretty much. I mean, they both kind of formed the basis of me growing up and stuff. But my mom actually did a good job of preparing me for the world. Whether it be the corporate world, whether I'm pastoring, and really, even pastoring is a type of business. It's a nonprofit business, but it's like running your own company. I don't see any penalty that I had to pay just because I spent more time with my mom than both my mom and my dad. So it really depends on the parent, and the child too. You have to be willing to follow, whatever your parents tell you to do.
Okay, so now a study from ABC shows that blacks are 35% less than whites of similar means to invest in the stock market. Do you believe that's also a mindset game, or is stereotypical because we're black? Like, hey, we're black people, we're not into stocks.
Well, it can be stereotypical, but remember, one of the important um, um, historical facts, because of our past and the fact that our ancestors were brought over here as slaves, it tended to put us behind the eight ball, when it comes to economics.
Yeah.
Because even as we moved from slavery, we didn't move up to first class citizens. They made us sort of like, a category of second class citizens. So all of that was contributed to our economics, or our lack of the economics that a typical white family would have.
Okay, so you think we wasn't given the same advantage as?
Of course not. And even today, we are not the systems, the systemic. I'm going to just call it racism. That's what it is. Keeps us from being on an equal basis with everybody else.
Okay. So now, why do you believe racism is a thing? Like, what do you think made up in a white person's mind? Hey, I'm gonna use a black person as a slave. What do you think that was?
Well, I think what it is, I think that the average person, white, black, whatever, they aren't really inherently racist, but they do take advantage of living, whether you okay, let's say if I'm a white person, whether I'm deeply or inherently racist or not is secondary, because we're living in a system where I don't really have to be racist. The system is what is built to keep minorities back.
Okay.
Specifically black people.
So now, do you believe that racism is like a genetic thing, like inherited probably from your
no,
past?
I don't think it's inherited, but it is taught.
So you think you can learn to be racist?
Yes, definitely. If your parents bring you up, because until you get to a certain age, whatever your parents say, you take as gospel, as being the truth. So when your parents are teaching you that you are better than somebody else, or you're smarter than somebody else, and this group of people is smarter, then until you get to a certain age, you're going to believe that. And even some people never do actually come into the knowledge of the truth.
Yeah, and do you believe that the people who never come into the knowledge of the truth, do you think they're just being stubborn, or that's what they were brought up with? They're like, I don't want to go against my parents.
Well, at some point, truth is going to slap you in the face.
Yeah. So at some point, you're going to realize that.
No, you may not realize it, but you're going to have to make a decision. Yeah. You're going to make the decision, either I believe this, or I don't believe this. And then everybody, no matter what color you are, you kind of go through that as you grow up, because everything your parents teach you based on what happened to them and when they were coming up. But some of the things that they were taught, or some of the things that they learned, may not be relevant to the times that we're living in today.
Okay. So Linda Monroe has a company that mentors over 1,000 prisoners. If you don't know who Linda Monroe is, she's a black entrepreneur. So first, that's wonderful that she has mentors that mentor over 1,000 prisoners. So why do you think Black excellence isn't spread on the media like a new trending song? Why do you believe they held Black excellence back?
Well, that is an interesting topic. Black excellence. First of all, um, excellence comes from, I believe that excellence comes from inside you. I don't think that those who truly strive to be excellent um, need to necessarily be taught that. Yes, they do need to be nurtured and allowed to know that they are able to be excellent. But that, in other words, it's not so much what you believe about me, but what's important is what I believe about me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I believe I'm excellent, then nothing's going to stop me.
So you never really got into entrepreneurship, but you're in sales and stocks and crypto. So do you believe that that requires an entrepreneurial mindset?
Of course, it definitely does. First of all, I didn't mention I do have my insurance license.
Mm-hmm.
So and I worked in insurance a few years. So especially that sales drive and all of that is what made me successful in that. But the entrepreneurial mindset is something, whether you're in the corporate world, whether you have your own business, whether you're in the nonprofit side, is definitely something that'll give you an edge over competitors.
Okay.
And you need to have that.
Okay. So do you think it's crucial in life in general, entrepreneurial mindset?
Of course it is, especially when you're talking about a group of people. Like for example, let's take Black people as a whole. We will not be successful, very successful, and move as a group until we get to the point to where we are able to not just start businesses, but also support businesses. Mm-hmm. It's very important in the world that we're living in now that we support Black businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So
now that you brought that up, supporting Black businesses, why do you think? Well, some Black people, they form and they stick together, but others, why do you think they fight each other? Why can't we just all come together? What do you think plays a role in that?
Well, I think one of the things that plays the roles is in the old days, slave days, Jim Crow days, we were actually trained and taught not to trust each other. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to believe, but even now today, some of that kind of lingers with us. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we're gonna have to get past if we because the bottom line is we need to support each other. Yeah. That's the only way we're gonna make it. Yeah. We've got to support each other.
Okay. So now, what advice would you give teen entrepreneurs?
Teen entrepreneurs. First of all, like I already said, I think teen entrepreneurs, they're showing that they want to be successful in business and entrepreneurship and all of that. So they are on the right track. Mm-hmm. So what I would say to them is you need to come together, stay together, and to just double down. And don't let anybody stop you. One of the things that this virus is causing is it has caused a lot of small businesses to go out of business. Yeah. So what's going to happen when the economy begins to open up? There's going to be many opportunities for small businesses, and I think our Black teens, our Black millennials, need to be ready to jump in and fill that space because it's going to be a lot of opportunity. Yeah. So be ready, get ready.
All right. So now, what do you think is the most important skill someone should have, not just in entrepreneurship, but in life in general?
Self-confidence. Okay. Self-confidence and the mindset to stick with doing the right thing. In other words, you know, uh, the Bible tells us that we are to, if you're doing something good, just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Be not weary in well doing, for in due season you shall reap a great reward.
So now we're going into religion, actually. So now, does religion play a big part of entrepreneurship?
Of course it does, because religion seeks to. What religion is it seeks to connect you with your inner self,
Mm-hmm.
and so entrepreneurship, as you know, is the successful entrepreneurs are the ones who, first of all, they know they have a purpose, they know what they want to do, they're able to stick to things that they decide, and then all of this brings about confidence, and it also talks about it also gives us the basis of partnership with each other, because we all are brothers and sisters.
Yeah. So now, do you believe someone can be successful in entrepreneurship without religion? Like if they're an atheist or
Oh, of course,
Muslim.
of course. But guess what? They may not believe in, per se, a specific God, but in order to be successful, there are some principles that you need to have, and most of those principles, are, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, are biblically based.
Mm-hmm. So okay, like what kind of principles? You talking about like law of attraction?
Well, all of that, law of attraction, the when you focus on something, and you move towards, and you move towards your goal. You know, as long as you continue to move towards it, you're gonna be successful.
Okay. So now, what if someone wasn't brought up in a religious home? What if they were brought up as a Muslim and they think that's the right religion, but
Well, see, religion itself, the specifics, every religion has a set of principles.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start studying the different religions, the names may be different for different, gods or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start looking at the principles, you're going to find those same principles in every religion.
So in a way, every religion is the same with principles.
When it comes down to principles,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
because take for example the principle of love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean versus hate.
Yeah.
Love is more inclusive than hate,
Mm-hmm.
and so when in other words, if I'm an entrepreneur, I want to help you do something.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm successful in helping you, you're going to support my business.
Yeah.
So that kind of, and then, just being confident in knowing that you're able to overcome anything.
Yeah. So now, have you ever thought about writing a book?
Yes.
Yeah.
Many times, yes. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up, because that might help me to go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
I've actually started putting down some notes already. I have a journal. I actually have an electronic journal that I've already started, where I can put down my thoughts on a daily basis,
Yeah.
so that I can sort of bring together a lifetime purpose type book.
Like, what kind of book have you thought about writing? Because you can write like a religious book, you can write
Right.
a stock book.
Yeah.
Because you like getting all that.
Well, yeah. I'd like for people to understand that we were all born with a purpose.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you begin to look back at your life, and maybe you may not be old enough to do this, but I'm a little bit older than you, or I'm a lot older than you. And I have more time now to reflect on some of the things that happened to me, and some of the people that helped me. And you know what I found out? Even the things that I thought were bad in my life that happened to me, they actually moved me more towards my purpose. So the good and the bad, and so if I can somehow capture all of that in a book
Yeah.
and have it focused enough where people are interested in it, that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to
Yeah,
write something like that.
that'd be a good book.
Hmm.
That'd be a good book. So thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I'd like to know, first of all, what got you so interested in entrepreneurship? I mean,
Uh,
because
yeah.
you're a young teen, and I think that's commendable. But
Mhm.
what got you going? Because you're fired up about it.
Well, yeah, I am. It started babysitting. I was babysitting
Mm-hmm.
two kids, and she was like, Uncle Jeff, he's an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, he always talked to me about that stuff. Like starting a business, network marketing. And he was like, you need to get Cash App. And I was like, okay, let me get Cash App. And then it started from there. So then I focused around starting a babysitting business. So I was
Mm-hmm.
gonna get CPR certified,
Mm-hmm.
and I was gonna get all that stuff done, and come up with the menu and start the babysitting business. And soon that can come into a worldwide daycare,
Right.
all over the world. But then I started following mentor pages, and then I realized that there was more. Like just like this pandemic, if the pandemic were to hit when I start my babysitting business, it will affect it.
Right.
So that's when I said I'm gonna have a business based online, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's when I realized that teens wasn't financial literate, and
Mm-hmm.
they grow up if they don't learn financial literacy while they're young, it's going to be harder to learn it while they're older. So that's when I came up with the idea that I should start a free program for teenagers to become financial literate. So that's what really kicked it off. Then it got into podcasting,
Oh,
etc.
okay.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye. Nice talking to you.
All right.